pay off. As you said already, the Graves is a champion that wants to get ahead early, did the most damage in the game, but then Kaze came through at the end, and he also individually pumped out 36k damage. So we're going to jump into that second pick and ban phase. Saigon Phantom this time electing for the blue side. Let's see what they can do this time around here, Yuko.
Right, so still not going to be seeing a Kaisa. I'm actually curious if INVATE Esports will still go with the Lovers Duo, or will we finally see what the Jess on this Nami?
Yeah, it's been pretty interesting. I think bot lane matchups has been something we've talked about a lot. And I think, Skimmy, you've actually discussed a little bit about this, switching away from traditional marksman for more AP heavy-centric type stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I like to see the variation from that. It shows the depth of character in a roster, and it certainly allows you to open up different ideas. But, I mean, Yuko, it might just be the cursed word between you and I. When we talk about Lovers Duo, it just seems to happen because it worked so well last game. They might just be running it back again. Why not?
Yep, why fix what's not broken? And with that, first two picks will be the Lovebirds indeed. Saigon Phantom though, they also will secure a different combo. Not Lovers, but you have the Cataclysm plus the Bomb for Ziggs.
It's a good setup for Saigon Phantom, very flexible so far, especially since we've seen Javan move away from purely a jungle role and Ziggs away from just the mid lane. A lot more flexibility for Saigon Phantoms. We're talking about winning picks and bans to start things off. Saigon Phantoms, I feel like, have managed to do that, pulling away some really powerful picks. Still, here what INVATE Esports have to do, right, is they have to find some kind of decent response to the main crowd control that probably comes through from Saigon Phantoms. I'm not sure Olaf is the right answer because you still get locked by Cataclysm. But I do enjoy the Twisted Fate. Gives them some mobility around the map.
They will really focus on the single target CCs. I mean, you have the gold card, you have the undertow to slow down your next possible target. After a lot of setups, that's the perfect time for Rakan to jump in with the Grand Entrance, maybe even a Feather Storm from Risaya.
It's interesting to see the Graves being locked in. Saigon Phantom, like they're taking a page out of INVATE Esports book. I'm not sure if this is going into the jungle, maybe into the marksman role. We will have to see how this one plays out. It's still very flexible. Yeah, but like we mentioned, even in the pre-show, Yuko, AOHK grabs Tsunami. That's pretty much what they want to play with, making the support role kind of like an enabler, making sure that the rest of the team is able to keep putting out damage, really get in the face of INVATE Esports. Whereas INVATE Esports, they want what the Jess to come in as an initiator, someone who's able to shot call and lead them around them.
I love how you mentioned damage, because before we hopped into game number one I was looking for the actual damage from Saigon Phantom. They did shine in the mid game, but toward the late game, scale definitely in favor of INVATE Esports. Speaking of scale, speaking of damage, they pick up that Akali.
Akali, the final grab for INVATE Esports. We haven't quite seen much of this. A little bit fallen by the wayside in 2.4b. Has a couple of hits to the damage, some of the stats, but for the most part, I still think it's a very powerful pick. And up against the Renekton, it's one of the better ones to deal against it, especially with Camille being banned away. Overall, I mean, if Cat type is looking to play this, I could be quite happy with how INVATE Esports have drafted.
It's interesting for me, though, the fact that we haven't seen Senna since day one. It may be just been in that game one. We then got a taste of it last game. And that's actually not been bad. It might just be the first time it's been let through the draft and teams aren't interested in it. But what I will say is this is another very aggressive draft with the ability to try and snowball early. Champions that want to be on the map nice and early, deployed, set up, ready to succeed. And we should be in for another treat where the games and the kills certainly do deliver. Now, Yuko, quick final thoughts. Which draft do you prefer?
I know I voted for Saigon Phantoms, but I have to give this one to INVATE. I really like that Olaf pickup. Imagine if he pops off plus a Saya and Rakan for the setup. That's gonna be a problem for Saigon Phantom.
What about you, Grandom?
Yeah, INVATE Esports, I can't get enough of them, honestly. You get a really interesting support with what the Jess. I feel like they're bumping back a little bit to their previous style with a cat type as the Akali, but yeah, I'm pretty okay with this still. You know, the Kodafi still has soul off at least.
Well, he's a fan, I'm a fan, I think we're all a fan. So how about we throw to some of the best fans in the region, and let's bring back into the conversation our casting team. Let's send it to the guys over in the casting booth. It's Omo and TJ.
Thank you very much, Skimmy. My name is TJ, joined by Omo. Saigon Phantom, more like Saigon down 01 Phantom. How are you doing, Omo?
I'm doing great. So much better after hearing that joke from you, TJ, to wake me up a little bit. And I've got one for you too.
Okay.
Saigon down like the Stream Phantom as we're going into game 2 up against INVATE Esports here. It's gonna be a pretty exciting one to start things off. I like the draft from both of these teams, and I'm hyped to see what we can find out here.
On be real, the Saigon Phantoms went down like there was a period of time. There was a close game. Stream just went down, so it's a little different there.
True.
Saigon
it would
Phantom
be like
played a close game 1, but were upset by INVATE in the very last moments of it. How does that, as we get into this game number 2, kind of play against your expectations?
it doesn't actually. It plays directly into my expectations. When they're strong, where they're strong is when Blake 1 leads the charge. I have a very interesting stat here that I'm going to use for a quick detour while we have a bit of a quiet, a bit of a lull in the action. Cold Feet versus Blake 1. Their kill participation in the regular season for their teams, Cold Feet had 72%, Blake 1 had an insane 94% kill participation. Wow. That's ridiculous, and it really goes to show that where this guy is where his team succeeds.
That's absurd, frankly.
It is. It really is. Like 94%, you're basically taking a part in every single kill.
And Blake 1 demonstrated it for Saigon during game number 1. Now we're in game number 2. Let's take a revisit over these drafts, over the start of this game. Does the shift of power into Blake 1's hands, giving him this Graves, kind of bode well for them? We'll find out as he shifts down into the bottom lane. It scares Kaze back behind his turret.
Yeah, not quite enough damage.
All of this happening amidst a roam of INVATE down towards the bottom side of the map as they begin to control this dragon pit.
That is true indeed. And Saigon Phantom now, I think they want to make a look up towards the top side of the map. So all for cat type just as we look away. And we were about to touch about the draft. I was about to bring up the point of the Akali. I swear this is not hindsight. It's a very good counter pick to the Renekton.
Sure.
Really, it's true, TJ. You have to believe me here. And part of the reason why it's so good in this game is, what is Akali scared of? When is Akali strongest, rather? She's strong when she's in her shroud and she has time to play around her passive, play around the cooldown of her first skill. The counter to that is Destiny. Twisted Fate just reviews you. Champions like Lee Sin just review you. There's none of that in this game. The Twisted Fate is on your team, and Renekton can never really trade onto an Akali just because Akali's trading patterns naturally counter Renekton. He dashes on you, you can bounce back, you can go into your shroud, you got a million options, you're good to go. And I think that this is actually one of the few games where I'm happy to see an Akali, and it fits so well with INVATE's go 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 comp. This time around, much simpler to execute. Press your button.
Full sand.
Full sand, basically.
No, I love to see it. Let me tell you, though, the one part of this composition from INVATE that doesn't feel like a full send is the Xayah, who can't really chase into fights, struggles a little bit to engage. But though I have a well-documented hatred of the character, Kaze won the last game off his team fighting prowess on Xayah. How do you think that balances out? Is this as antithetical to the composition as I think it is?
Well, part of the reason why champions like Xayah, and to some extent champions like Ezreal, even Ziggs, and I think to a very small extent, even champions like Varus and Ashe, this is why they're so good with diving comps, because what they do in team fights doesn't matter. They can just press their R buttons, and they can just use their utility, and that's it, they're done. Xayah and Ezreal, they can peel for themselves. You guys can go full send it, and let your AD carries take care of themselves.
Speaking of, Kaze is going to need to. Here's the roam down from Saigon. 3 members here. Twisted Fate Pelby will arrive and deal out the gold card. There's nothing to be done. Kaze survives. What a heal! Keeps him up through the Mega Inferno bomb. And INVATE can now turn 4v5 for this fight, and instantly Cold Feet's into the fray. He'll find Blake 1. There's no jungler for Saigon as the press keeps going forward. Cold Feet past the front lines, finds a second, and with a flash, what the Jess is away, free in the Baron pit. Belby will go down. Trum finally finding something back as Cold Feet backs away. This could get dangerous because Kaze has returned. So this fight will go the way of INVATE. Control goes the way of nobody.
Well, we say that, but I think Saigon Phantom, Blake 1 has respawned. He's going to make his way back, and he will pick up the Dragon for his team.
I do want to raise, as I think you're right, Dragon is going to go over to Saigon. I want to raise that during this entire time, Cat type was just free farming.
Yeah,
in the
exactly.
lane. He just took a turret.
Yeah, he's happy. He's got a lot of gold in his pocket right now. He's a level up on Trump Top. Trump Top got a kill, but this guy, he's gonna be behind in gold. There we go. More than 1,000 gold. Akali is sitting happy. Crystalline Bracer in his pocket is an interesting choice, but I think the main thing that we want to pay attention to, his items, it doesn't matter. Anything that gives him AP, once you have 5,000 gold, I think you're happy regardless. And I think that this Akali is gonna make Ziggs and Graves their life a living hell.
INVATE do trade the objectives, grab themselves a Rift Herald. So, Crystal and Bracer, I do actually want to talk about. For anyone who hasn't played it, it's a relatively new item. The way it works is every time you use an ability, as a mage, you basically generate a single stack that blocks and blocks a point of damage towards you and returns it to the enemy, a bit like Thorn Mail. How do you see this playing on an Akali?
Well, it's a bit curious, right? Because as an Akali, you don't want to even get hit at all. I can see it make a bit of sense to give him a bit of tanky stats in the side lane. In the team fight, the main thing you want to play around is your mobility, your Shroud, your Zhonya's, and you know, that's about it, right? Like, that should be more than enough for you to take care of yourself, and you just want to buy damage. You want to just kill people, one-shot them. The only reason this makes sense is if you want to be looking for pressure on side lanes. Make sure that you don't die to Renekton, you don't get one-shot by the combo of Empowered Renekton Stun into Graves.
And that was what I was thinking of, because if you get stunned by the Renekton, you can just, if you've built up the stacks, just shrug off that combo for the next 2 seconds.
Yeah, it's really good for trading patterns into Renekton, but I feel like your priority here as Akali, given the team comp that you have, given that we established what their team comp wants to do, full send, it kind of doesn't make sense to me, as we have to take a bit of a step back and look at this Herald.
I don't know, I was enjoying our item time. Here, the Herald is Rich Herald is summoned down here on the bottom side of the map. Kaze will silence the fight with the Featherstorm, slowing things down. INVATE knocked very low, but they do get the Rift Herald charge. They do discover where all of Saigon Phantoms are. I won't get anything more than that.
Yeah, a little bit underwhelming there. I think the fight started with Belby getting caught, so he has to flash away. I think it was from the Cataclysm, so that makes them in a pretty tough situation to take any ensuing fights. But Cat's-Eye.
1v4, Cat-Type opts into the fray. Diving into a smoke veil, he'll find the first kill, and he's waiting on that perfect execution.
Nice.
Backed up by what the Jest. Cat-Type's got 2. He'll back away. Now, 3 players here. Trumptop comes in, and Cat-Type's tempted. Destiny popped. Golden Feet dueling up front. Will flash away. It's a little too dangerous. 2 kills to Cat-Type in a 1v3.
He went mid. Belby popped the Destiny, but he gated to mid. He thinks, I'm not going to help my team. I want to come here and do chip damage to this turret.
I'm going to get goals.
I completely understand that. Do you remember in game 1, TJ? It took them years to break this tier 1 mid tower. Belby makes the call. Any chip damage on it is better than any fight we could possibly take. And what the Jess?
Also, you know, Cat-Type kind of seemed like he had a handle. He didn't need any help.
Like we mentioned, right, Akali's so mobile. Who here is really gonna lock him down? Look at Saigon Phantom's team composition and bring it back to what we were talking about a little bit earlier. What counters Akali? Vision through his Shroud and hot CC. We didn't quite raise that point, but hot CC as well is so important. CC that you can't dodge out on. Javan CC is all dodgeable, Nami CC is all dodgeable, and the only thing that you need to be afraid of is Renekton's Empowered Stun. That's it. It's a free game for Cat-Type.
And Renekton's Empowered Stun is run away from-able.
It's genre-able.
Yeah, as long as you can keep, you know, some social distance between you and that crocodile. You can't do anything to you.
Exactly, and in the last game as well, we saw Trumptop consistently going for these assassination attempts against Belby's Twisted Fate, and we saw the counter. Just stay away from the croc. Yeah.
Just keep them at arm's length, which to be fair is what you're supposed to do to real crocodiles as well. So,
more than an arm, I would say.
Yeah, if you keep them at arm's length, you might lose that arm.
Yeah, exactly.
Drake here, a mounted Drake. And Saigon Phantom would like to get in, but it's INVATE to start it on the Saigon Phantom ward. Phantoms know what's up here. Can they do anything about it? Over the wall, here comes Blake. Tidal wave synced up, secured by INVATE inside the pit. Golden Feet will fall immediately after getting it. Kaze forced to Featherstorm, top of the fight, will survive, root everyone else. The only death is Golden Feet. A 1-1 trade for the Drake.
Yeah, and that fight was a completely failed execution from the side of INVATE Esports. The idea was right, the angles they were coming from was right, and they want more?
Now the INVATE are gonna step up here. Dash.
No, no mana! No mana!
Tom backs away, can't time, did get hit, didn't keep the distance. Arm got bit off, but he'll survive.
Belby potted into the pit with 0 mana. He used his last bit of mana for his Destiny's Gate. He came in, could not pull a single card. Entire deck was empty, used all 52, and he's out of cards. That's it for the fight. And that just ties along to the theme of what we've been seeing so far. INVATE are just failing the execution.
He's there for the moral support. INVATE.
I don't know about that one, TJ. I would be pretty demoralized if my TF potter next to me and didn't cast a single spell.
Pocket sand. INVATE did have a gold lead from that though, and I think that is important to mention because a lot of that gold is of course on Belby, a lot of that gold on V's and Cat Type, both of whom are going to be very scary as we head into the mid-lane game.
Yeah, as well as I do want to mention, TF has been split pushing most of the game once again. Same as what we saw in the last game. We kind of criticized him for it, or rather I criticized him for it. I said, you know, you need to be playing with your team more. You can't be playing so selfish. But remember, TF's passive gives him more gold. So the more he farms, the more he's going to accelerate, and he's going to hit that 13-minute 3-item point again. That's the timing in the last game. Let's see if he'll get it even quicker this game. And of course, Cat Type sitting at basically 3 items right now. This guy's going to be a menace in every team fight. They just need to fix the execution. Make it like Akali's ultimate is called. Make it a flawless execution, and you're good to go.
Dive in from what the Jazz. That's not flawless.
Far from it. And they get more damage on themselves than they came in.
Again, Inferno Bomb slams the door behind them.
Yeah.
INVATE leave with their heads held low.
Indeed. Walk of shame. Back to the tail ones.
We weren't trying anything, I swear. And now it's Saigon's turn.
Cat Type. Has an angle.
Step up. Cat Type does have the angle, but not the damage, not onto anyone who's vulnerable to it.
You know what?
It's all kind of a wash in the middle of the map.
You know what I think is going on, TJ? We kind of cast this cursing what the Jess. Ever since yesterday, ever since the analyst desk, everyone has been saying this guy is a monster on Rakan, and he's just been failing engage after engage. Like that. It's kind of demoralizing to see.
Yeah, rough engage for him, rough series of them. Belby up here in the top lane is maybe 1 hit point. Like walks up, takes advantage of that, will shut him down. He tried to take a duel, I think versus Goni and paid the price. And I don't mean the turret goes down as well.
What is this?
Just stepping up here. This time, he's good. We'll find the knock-off onto Goni. That drops Goni to half HP. That is all that will happen. And if you're wondering what Cat Type's up to during this time, he's free farming bot lane. If you'd like the update on the Saigon Phantom's bot lane, they're free farming mid lane.
Cat Type has a flank. He has an angle here.
Now he can intercept Gunner and AOHK as they try and retreat. Gunner will try and sneak through the mid lane. That pathing sneaky.
No way.
Gunner!
No,
the fancy footwork, that was incredible.
I guess it was incredible for Saigon Phantom. That's one way to put it. I would say INVATE Esports, they messed up. They just needed to cut off the exits. Look at the Dragon, though. I think they want to fight this.
Dragon will be secured by INVATE, and they are out. INVATE get the Dragon, and they leave. Oh, no.
That was just so disappointing from INVATE. They had the angle, they had the Destiny Gate. Cat Type had them cut off on the flank. They just needed to cut off the one exit onto mid lane, and they let Saigon Phantom get away without even using flash.
And to your point, if the Destiny Gate had been open a couple of seconds earlier, then Gunner wouldn't have been able to do the cheeky positioning that he did.
Very good point as well, TJ. That's completely true.
I'm really on Twisted Fates, who very obviously aren't being told the play is starting today.
Yes.
Because we've had a couple of them. Ideally, your Twisted Fate opens the Destiny Gate as the play is starting, and not...
Agree.
He's looking at the map and he's like, oh, I guess we're going.
Because TF Ultimate lasts for such a long time as well. The Destiny is available for a really long time. They're looking for a bit here. I don't think much is going to happen. Yep, just like that.
Okay, we'll drop the tidal wave. Megan Inferno Bomb answers, and it's a mistimed Featherstorm, so Everyone's
Good
a little bit
long-range
more
poke.
aware.
Yeah, I want to look at what Blake is building, because if my theory is correct and he's building lethality here, I would actually really like the comp from Saigon Phantoms, where you just play purely the poke with Ziggs bombs and Graves uses the ultimate. That's it. You chunk them down. They cannot contest you on objectives. Bit cheeky there from Blake. But I like the previous point.
Walking.
He is indeed. Fancy feet, breaking some ankles. But I want to go back to your previous point, TJ. I think it's a really great point. Twisted Fates being told when the play is happening is what we did see in the last game. Belby opened his destiny, and I was really questioning what he did it for. Until I realized he did it to give his team vision of the center shroud. They were all hidden in the center shroud, and he popped destinies so his teammates could see what was going on and really just commit to the play. That was really nice. We're not seeing that this game, so that's a bit disappointing.
Top side, we are seeing trouble here for Goni. He's cut off by Cat-Type, still able to get behind the turret, chased in, drops the Cataclysm. This is dangerous as the Mega Inferno Bomb arcs in. Here's Blake, here's the Tidal Wave, a whole team on their way. Tidal Wave will not land. Cat-Type, 1 HP in this stasis, is surely dead. Flash over the top won't save him. It is 1 for 1 in the top lane.
It is indeed, and Belby right now in the mid lane, he's doing his thing, using Destiny Gate to get to the mid turrets, but he has to run right now.
Yeah, he gets the mid turret down about a third. Ooh, a little bit more than that.
Not bad, not bad.
His HP.
Yeah, I think INVATE, they're playing the rat game pretty well. They're just running the members of Saigon Phantom around the map. A big problem for them, though, is the Ziggs pick. I always say, Ziggs is a cheater champion. It changes the rules of the game. It makes the game of League different. The rules of tempo, the rules of wave management, they no longer apply to you. All right, just come in for a gold cut.
Because the Ziggs, even though like you're looking at the scoreboard at the top and you're like, Saigon Phantom are at a gold deficit.
Yeah.
Ziggs doesn't really care. He can just clear any waves that gets shoved in. He can keep all your turrets safe. Ooh. And if you give that little gremlin a shot at one of your own turrets, he'll eat it up like it's nobody's business.
Exactly, he breaks the rules of tempo. It's like the Thanos meme, right? The rules of reality is now in my control. That's exactly what Ziggs does to the game.
He said.
It's something like that. I might have misquoted him a bit, but Thanos is not going to come after me. It's all good. I want to point out, though, I really love this from Kazatar. Wit's End, because he knows that the main damage threat against him is going to be Ziggs. It's not a traditional marksman item, but it works really well here because Hex Drink is not going to save you, right? The shield is not going to save you. He's just going to keep poking you from range. You just want flat magic resistance, and Wit's End gives you that.
That's a really fun adaptation, and you love when you see players aware enough of what their item builds are doing to make those kinds of shifts. We do have a rather important addition to the map right now. The Elder Ocean Drake on the map would be game-defining for either team. Destiny Gate is open to scare Saigon off of the play. Nothing comes of it. Now that it's faded, Goni wants some action. He'll go in with the Cataclysm, Mega Inferno Bomb to follow with the Tidal Wave, but none of it has too much of an impact. And INVATE survive and all walk away.
Cat-Type, meanwhile, gets the top tier 2 turret. They want to commit to this dragon because they know they have to. They don't have options. If Goni recalls here, they're gonna lose this because Cat-Type is making his way over.
INVATE take their time, walking in, waiting for Saigon to make a mistake, and they are rewarded. Saigon back off of the Drake. Golden Feet walks up. There's a desperate dive from Blake, and he can't find the kill. And this is wasted yet more of Saigon's time as the mid turret falls. Belby getting it for free.
LB gets it for free, and now they come back on the Elder Inferno Drake once again. They don't have a choice. They have to rush this.
LB steps up, Gold Card dealt. Tidal Wave spent defensively. Golden Feet is very low, the jungler for Saigon. So he's gonna have to take a risk, but not yet. Drake's still above half HP. This Elder Drake, very important for the game, and so Goni commits to the front lines. He'll flash away, but he does knock Kaze down very low. The poke game continues. Here comes the play from Golden Feet into the backlines, focusing on Trump. He's got to disengage. Cat-Type over the top. Can't finish these kills, but he's chased Saigon away. Caught in the bubble. That's a huge catch from AOHK, but it's on his deathbed. He'll fall immediately after. Trump trying to farm up on the Krugs. Comes in with decent HP. Will force Belby into stasis, but it doesn't matter. INVATE have done it for a second game in a row. They managed to out-like the Saigon Phantoms with a quadra kill to Belby. Perfectly timed spells. They'll take the Elder, and INVATE are on the path to go 2-0 up in this series.
think this is an end angle. INVATE, they can just run it down mid right here. They don't have to care about Baron. They don't have to care about anything. 20 seconds to Ziggs, 15 to Nami. I think they can end it right here. They have the Lich Bane available as well. And that was far from a good fight from INVATE, but they still pull it through. So many missed opportunities, but they're looking for the end.
Here we go, INVATE, burn down the Nexus. And sometimes it's not about the perfect execution, it's about the fights you get and the fights you win. INVATE don't miss the opportunities they have, and they're 2-0 up over the Saigon Phantoms.
Sure, by all means, I think that's a fine one. Cat Type showed a good performance on that. It wasn't quite enough to impress Omo, but that's okay. I still think it's a viable option for INVATE Esports. A little bit less useful after already being seen once. Saigon Phantom, though, they are the ones that have to try and respond to some of the other threats. Cold and Feet and What the Jets have been huge initiators. At some point, you have to ask yourself, do I want to ban the Rakan? And there you go.
Yes.
Get rid of the Rakan, because that's way too much of a problem to deal with.
And that, I'm actually curious, if ever INVATE Esports to win this 3-0, will Omo be finally satisfied? Or is it still going to be a no?
Yeah, I doubt it.
Saigon Phantom though locking in that twisted fate. You know, Belby, you were a headache on this champion. We're gonna get this for ourselves.
Starting off with the Twisted Fate, yeah, so once again, they're just going to look to try and open up, especially once you've taken away the Ziggs. Now the number of options available are kind of restricted, right? We saw Galio as an option. I know Skimmy's a big fan of the Pantheon. Those are a couple of choices that you could grab when you see the Twisted Fate on the enemy team, but the alternative is you just grab a bunch of power picks, get the Brand, you get the Kai'Sa. That's as strong as a bot lane duo as you want, and the Brand can kind of flex as well.
Akshan, however, but you also have the Kha'Zix lock in. I was about to say Saigon Phantom. I want to see them. You pick up the Pantheon, pick up the Galio, just to get those globals and semi-global ults in their draft. But INVATE Esports, they want the hooks. They got fire.
Yeah, uncharacteristic for what the Jets to play for a mage style support. He's here to initiate. He's here to bring you around the map, lead you by the nose, and play to his own tune. You know, he's the Pied Piper of Wild Rift, and Thresh fits so much better into that place now than Brand does, so going for this is a good choice if you ask me. Doesn't gain so much from having held for the last pick anyway. That being said, Riven coming in here, yeah, now we're looking at some action in the Baron lane.
And to add to that, death sentence will definitely mean your death. Imagine a stun coming out from Riven right after you got hooked, or maybe one IK10 rate. Whoever what the Jess gets will most definitely be a secure kill for INVATE Esports. Another good initiator or champion that has good CC is Leona.
Leona's an interesting choice. Gives them some good crowd control, which they desperately need. Unfortunately, I think that this does mean they can only really go for fights that involve them peeling back to front. I don't think that they want to commit too hard. The Akali is interesting as well because it gives them some form of a flank angle and it adds a secondary threat to the Kha'Zix. But it really does feel like Saigon Phantoms are just kind of playing on tilt a little bit. It definitely does well if you get a little bit ahead. But it's going to be so difficult. I feel like they're not playing to their strengths and giving INVATE Esports the tempo instead.
That's true. They are just basically dancing to the music that INVATE Esports played. And I have to say, with this draft, they will definitely go all in your face type of composition. I'm actually a bit worried for this Akshan and this Twisted Fate.
Yeah, a lot of threats coming into Saigon Phantom INVATE Esports. Just seem like they have a composition that's so simple to execute. Run into their face, dive into them, dish out damage, get out, reset, and do it again and again. Saigon Phantoms, they have to play a lot more aware, with a lot more presence of mind to figure out where the opponents are going to be. That being said though, I'm looking for an exciting game coming into this.
I'm excited for this one because we are seeing some picks that were shown in the series against the Flash Wolves, right? It came to this point where they went for the Brand mid, they went for that Akshan Leona bot. It didn't really pay out. So the fact that INVATE have clearly done their homework and they've locked Brand in that first rotation is going to be a chance for these teams to showcase what they can do. Let's throw it back to our casting team. It's TJ and Omo. You love them. We want them. They're here now.
Thanks, nerd. It's time for game number 3, an elimination game with INVATE up 2-0 over Saigon Phantoms. My name's TJ, joined once more by the ever-disappointed father. How are you doing, Oma?
I'm doing great, not because of the quality of the games we've seen so far, but because of the quality of the game I hope we're about to see. We've got some spicy drafts. I know you want to talk about this, TJ. I see you jumping up and down. Let's get right into it. What do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, let's just start with the Saigon Phantom side of things, where they've decided to, like, take pick comp and make it a pick comp that rules. because they've got backline crit damage in the Arkshan to take those front-to-back team fights. As we get into game, you also have to talk about the Akali Kha'Zix dive duo behind the Twisted Fate Leona CC. Everything about this draft is exciting to me on both sides, but we can start there.
I think what's exciting to me is that Saigon Phantom seem to have taken a page out of INVATE Esports' book. We talk about how Saigon look like a team that don't have game plans. They're not exactly sure what they're gonna be doing. So they saw INVATE in game 2, pick up the TF, then use that as an opportunity to set up for an Akali pick. They did it themselves this game. It's, you know that meme, TJ? This is mine, and then the guy next to him says, this is yours, this is mine now. That's exactly what Saigon Phantom did here this game. And they made it spicier. Added the Kha'Zix, added an Akshan, and a Leona as well.
So let's talk about what could go wrong for it, the spice that
many
they're bringing to the table. Because they have so much teamfight power on INVATE. That is... We have passed that point.
We've come full circle. I think I find myself, I'm gonna start calming down. You know, we're gonna focus on the game state as Golden Feet is gonna look for a 1v1.
Sure, walking forward here, he finds a gold card. This is a dangerous early game, Omo. As the Leona wanders up the river and Connor's gonna flank around the side, but AOHK is already dead. This is actually super dangerous. Golden Feet will back away. First blood to INVATE.
Good start from them. I was kind of surprised it went their way after Belby did a little bit of a face check into gold card plus Kha'Zix combo there. Like I said, right, I feel like INVATE have not been playing their best game today. And honestly, I can't really blame them as well. It's pretty late in the night for most of these players. And I know we joke about gamer hours and everything, but it's still been a really long day, especially when you've been waiting for your game to start.
Yeah, just having to be prepped for the game, that definitely wears you out in a way.
Yeah, you have to be in the right state of mind as well. You have to be in the right frame of mind, and being like that for hours on end takes a toll on them.
The delays today certainly affected everyone, so... Though it is fair, though everyone is affected equally, I do want to be a little
True.
gratuitous here.
Oh, what's this?
Just to play in the middle of the map again, this time from Saigon. And this time it will be a kill off of the Destiny Gate as Goni arrives in the river and back over. So both supports have now died once. The gold is dead even at 3 minutes.
Dead even indeed. Both junglers though.
Up here at the top side, Golden Feet will step forward and my lord, Trum just dances away.
He messed up, Golden Feet. I think he could have read that one a little bit better as a veteran as well. We nearly see a solo kill in the mid lane. Belby, if he brought Ignite instead of Ghost, that could have been a solo bolo, but opting for the teamfight summoner instead, completely understandable.
And as a result, our deadlock continues here in this elimination game. We are just 25 seconds away from the first objectives arriving. And there's a bit of a roam coming up the map. I believe AOHK was spotted out. So we can resume our discussion.
Indeed. And what was our discussion about against TJ? I kind of lost track of things. I think if we look across the board, both of these teams, they're just chilling. They're farming. We're looking at the objective spawn coming up soon. What I do want to point out though, what the Jazz on this Trash against the Leona matchup, you know what, I think that's a fun talking point. It's gonna be a bit before we see some action. Trash Leona is a very classic matchup. Leona tries to come in, you gotta flay him away. We haven't seen much of that in laning phase, but hopefully he gets the mechanics down pat here. Nice hook.
A very good hook to open things up, but Blank One is able to hop away, and here's the play immediately behind it. AOHK flashing into the front lines, getting away. Zenith Blade didn't flash away, rather. The combination will work. Nobody dies in this fight. Drake has begun here by INVATE. They do have very low HP bars, though. This is dangerous.
Yeah, Cat-Type is just gonna try to spam the spells. Oh no, what's this?
Hook lands. Oh, and they get a free kill onto Gunner. AOHK got as well. It's 3 to INVATE. Trum was trying to find a flank, but the fight is already over and done with. This Drake is gone.
Well, I made a good idea right there. Great that you point that one out, TJ. He was trying to look for an angle. He's trying to get onto the back line, but it won't work if your teammates just walks into a trash hook. And that is honestly just mistake after mistake from Saigon Phantom, and they're deservedly getting punished right now. This Akshan marksman is not going to be scaling better than a Kai'Sa. They need to be finding the skirmishes, and they need to get it going.
That Void Seeker that just interrupted his recall was completely blind. It was completely blind.
Wait, was it?
Yeah, he had no ward.
You love to see it. That's the best thing you could possibly do. And now, INVATE won more. They won both the objectives.
And get this, because the recall was interrupted, Trump has to walk the long way around. Oh, he steals it!
I mean, if you steal it in that way, if you walk in and you get the Rift Herald like that, I think you completely deserve it. It's a well-earned one for Blake there.
He just walks up and smites it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a swag walk and
target to ult.
yes, exactly, TJ. Look, we talked about it, right? It's a long day. We're delirious. It seems like the players are too, and who can blame them? We're having fun up here. The players are having fun up here.
And Kaze eats like 10 damage, so sure, okay.
He doesn't even bother to walk behind the creeps. He doesn't bother letting them block it. He's like, I'm good.
Gunner's gonna shove down bottom here, so this turret is under serious risk, but Belvy's here in time. He's got clear. INVATE still deadlocked in terms of gold at the end of all that. You do have the Rift Herald in the pocket of Saigon, so technically they have a presumptive gold lead, assuming that will find a turret, find some value on the map.
The Rift Herald in his pocket right now, while they're playing from behind, is a Schrodinger's gold lead. Don't get baited by a TJ. It might never materialize into anything.
Simultaneously, a gold lead that exists and doesn't exist.
Exactly, and we're not gonna know until he decides to pop it. Given the game state right now with INVATE in control, I'm leaning towards believing that it will not materialize into a gold lead. But they're gonna trade mid though. They're gonna trade mid for this.
Trump? What an escape chase!
No!
He's over the wall again! That was incredible! He just baits Kaze, plays him beautifully!
No, TJ, don't encourage that. That was
in the
not
meantime. Easy kill, turn and mid destroyed. Kaze played like a banjo.
Indeed, he was. Blake once more though. He's not giving up on this blue buff. All right. He gets
Blue
it for
buff
free.
doesn't give up on him. That's what you love to see in a relationship.
Indeed, and TJ, I have a very important question for you. I was gonna get into it before I was so rudely interrupted by these teams deciding to take team fights. What does Akshan use? What is his weapon? I know he throws a boomerang.
It's a crossbow.
It's a crossbow. Okay, I was just gonna make a joke about how Gunner was an appropriate name and everything, but that's all gone now. That's fine.
Well, I mean, did you know that Gunner actually used to refer to archers?
No way! I actually didn't.
There you go.
Oh well, learning something new. Hope the viewers at home appreciate that little tidbit of information like I did. That was very cool.
So, thank you. I love.
No, I'm being serious. I wasn't being sarcastic.
Kaze roaming down.
Spooky goes.
AOHK in trouble here. Ooh, will be flash hooked, cleanses it, walks away. No trouble in the world.
Not a care in the world at all. Does he have Quicksilver Sash? Was that what it was?
Because he did cleanse that hook.
No way he has that much tenacity. I think.
Maybe he just has that much tenacity. I don't know.
Who knows, right? But at this point, we see a 1v1 right now.
You know, separate on the map, this should have been Blake finding the kill onto Pelby. He drops him very low, but doesn't complete it. Regardless, that means INVATE are at a 4v5 disadvantage. And so Saigon can take their lead up towards this Drake and Infernal, and they're burning it. Already down to half. Here's the play.
Nice.
Gas will split the fight. AOHK drops the solar flare on the Drake itself. It is secure by Saigon, but they are losing the battle immediately afterwards. Goni is dead. AOHK has already fallen. 2 kills in exchange for an Infernal.
Ooh, and Gunner getting away with a sliver of health. He wants more. Well,
it was for wave clear. He kills the minion with that.
No, it wasn't, TJ. That's reading too much
the minion
into
with
it.
that. Game fly.
It was a bit of a game
here.
moment.
A little bit sketchy, but
Yeah.
he'll back away. I think he was positioning that to kill the minion.
It could have been very easily avoided by INVATE just sidestepping away from the minion wave, but we'll take that. We'll take what happened at face value. I think it's fine. Blake though, he pops the ultimate. He wants to be a bit sneaky.
Cat-Type knows exactly where he is. What's the meaning of that? Cat-Type saw him go into that bush.
Yeah, I am lost for words. I have nothing left to say, TJ. I'm out. I'm good.
Cat-Type watched him walk into that bush, and what's more, Blake One watched Cat-Type watch him go into that bush. So
And he decided, I'm gonna out. Who knows? Who knows at this point? Well, just gonna see some wave clear. Just gonna be shoving out some waves. Goni on this TF as well, getting some farm for himself. I do want to take a look at the items though. I think that's important to keep track of. INVATE Esports, when Belby played TF, he played very selfishly for the first 10 minutes. Got the Roa, Lich Bane, Rapid Fire Cannon by 13 minutes, and it seems like Goni here, even though he hasn't been having the best game, he's been doing the most in his team, and he has the biggest gold lead, and he's close to that 3-item power spike mark as well.
And one of the things we need to keep an eye on here is Gunner as well.
Yep.
I actually think I skew the late game towards Saigon Phantoms because they have Gunner. And Crit Akshan is pretty terrifying. The biggest opponent to that will be the Kaiser and the Brand in the middle of the map.
Oh, nice hook.
Very nice hook. Blake One tries to dance away, does a VOD nearby. Blake will just turn around! Oh my god!
No way. Yeah, he took the hook and he decides to flash after. He wasn't content with just getting Blake's flash. He had to flash himself, and that greediness got him punished. His teammates, you saw them abandon what the Jets right there. They didn't want to take the Lantern. They don't want to fly into Leona and Kha'Zix as we're going into mid-turn.
AOHK should back away. Golden Feet stepping up for this chase.
So much damage.
Kaze's thinking about this as well, kind of poking away at AOHK. So I want to touch on something just for anyone who's newer to the game. You may see as people walk close to Blake One, they have this purple circle around them. That purple circle means that you're isolated. You don't have any of your allies nearby. And if you don't have any of your allies within that purple circle, then the Kha'Zix does bonus damage to you of a truly incredible amount. So what went wrong there for What the Jess is he left all his teammates with the flash, and Blake One just went, oh, hang on, I get my isolation bonus, I get my bonus damage, and turned around and comboed him.
Exactly, and it's actually a bit of a fun fact. There are people... Oh, I have to hold that thought though.
You do, because AOHK is
I
going
don't.
in. But now
It's
you can
over.
release
That's it.
that thought, you can drop it right onto us.
Gonna drop some truth bombs on everyone watching. Well, a lot of people actually do say that this Kha'Zix skin... No, I can't. We're just fighting.
Blake One's fighting for his life.
He's burned.
What happened there? He does eventually get burned to death.
Would be the Ignite from Cat-Type, and he wants more. He wants the Dragon. INVATE
This would
Esports.
be the Drake of the game, a Cloud Drake, so Saigon don't especially need to contest him.
Yes, sir.
I think they should leave. It's just a Cloud Drake. There's no need to fight for it 4v5.
And Goni's gonna get some.
Yeah.
Goni's gonna get it. I think he is. Belby might try to stop him though.
Belby will be able to stop him. Drake goes over.
It would have been so perfect if that Akali Shuriken had stolen the dragon. Alas, it does not happen. And yes, while we shouldn't have any action, I will try my best to finish up the point of why this Kha'Zix skin is actually, in theory, and some people say it's the most broken Kha'Zix skin. Because by right, this skin has the most easily seen, I guess, or the most visible isolation animation. It's a big purple circle that has very clear angular edges, and that's how you know that this skin, you know, it's a bit pay to win, you could say, but it really clearly tells you when they're isolated and when you're gonna pop them like a balloon.
So we'd like to thank Blake One for making it a little easier for those at home to follow along with while he's doing so much damage.
For himself as well, but I want to point out his items. It's a bit interesting. He's gone for a bit of a more utility build with some defensive components as well. He has the healing reduction. I don't think it's super necessary to rush that here, think he probably just wanted the stats from the item, but he also has the Maw of Malmortius. That's something which I don't really like, right? I feel like when you're playing Kha'Zix, you can't really be throwing gold into items which don't give you damage. You just want a one-shot. And I think it's a little bit odd as well. Oh, okay, he's gonna get out. That's fine. But it's a little bit odd because there's no real AP damage sources that will be aiming at him. Kata will be trying to go for the back line. Belby will be trying to go for the front line. Blake just needs to dance around the edges and no one should be looking for him. Nice dodge.
Yeah, Blake. Wow, doing an incredible job staying ahead of this fight. Now he's got his friends. AOHK getting focused again. He'll go down. Trum working the side of the fight as Colden Feet dives the front lines. Colden Feet will go down to Gunner. Trum caught out, is able to survive. Killer Instinct in. Trum shurikens away, and maybe Goni can turn this. It's going to be close. AOHK arrives off the respawn in the meantime. A kill will be passed over to Black One. Make it 2, make it 3 in the middle of the action. Goni's got the final card, and Saigon Phantoms wipe a fight in the middle of the map. A complete ace. And up against elimination, they're going to convert this Baron, and this looks real good as they take the gold lead, a firm gold lead, for the first time this series.
And TJ, that gold lead is gonna grow as well after they pick up this Baron and after they use it to its maximum potential. Look at the team composition from Saigon Phantoms. That's a team comp that's capable of playing in all 3 lanes. Now, what does that really mean? What does it mean when you play in 3 lanes? We'll have to wait to answer that question as we look at the team fight where it starts off with AOHK getting caught. And honestly, if you think about it, that's the best person you could have getting caught. And this is why we say Akali is so good when there are no counters against her. The only thing that can fight her in Shroud is that belly bop, and it buys so much time. The Zhonya's, the Shroud, and you know, he kind of ends a little bit at the end there, flying into the brand face first, but he wastes so much time. He holds up 4 members of INVATE by himself, lets his team clean up, gets the resets on Gunner as well as on Blake, and they just take over the fight.
You're kidding me! What is
They're finding this.
That's so synced up!
Goodness.
That's so synced up! Cat Type just melts! He was on the wards, so the play was planned, and it's beautifully planned.
And this is gonna be it, I think. I feel like this might just be the game here. No cat type means no frontline, means the assassins are jumping on you.
And all of INVATE were trying to set a vision around the Elder, so they weren't here to defend the base.
Yeah, and the
true inhibitor turrets have now fallen. And that Elder that they were trying to set a vision, trying to set up a trap around, is completely free for Saigon Phantoms, just 15 seconds away.
Yeah, it means nothing now. That vision does nothing. They want Blake 1 though, but he wastes the flame. You need to hold that one to cancel the Kha'Zix jump. What the jazz? I feel like you would know this by now, but still makes a mistake. I understand. Tensions are high. It's a very high pressure situation. Let's take a look at how the game is gonna play out right now. I think they can just siege into the into the bottom lane turret. You got super minions pouring in every lane.
Here's the play for the game. Saigon Phantoms trying to extend this series. Empowered waves crashing all 3 lanes simultaneously. A good bit of macro here to engineer that. And INVATE dive the fight. Killer Instinct into the back. Kaze chasing the kill. In the meantime, though,
they're going for Dan.
Tony on the Nexus. He doesn't care. He's sending us to game 4. Saigon Phantoms extend the series.
They do indeed. They keep their hopes alive.
And so, yeah, okay, bad twist of fate, that's an option, but at least have in the back of your mind, don't give away first pick.
With that, the pick and bans is already up for game number 4. I actually do not want to see a Lee Sin open just because, I mean, if you unleashed a very powerful jungler in the early game for INVATE Esports, they will most likely pick it up. But looks like Saigon Phantom, they don't want those cards anymore, as well as the one that kicks her face. Visit Fate plus Lee Sin out to the table.
Yeah, very interesting that INVATE Esports have picked blue side. Actually, I wouldn't say all that interesting. It's pretty straightforward why, and Saigon Phantom really have to respond in turn by banning out these key priority picks early on, but as a result, it's left open stuff like the Kha'Zix. Kha'Zix, Rengar, you know, pretty big junglers right now. Saigon Phantom could look to try and duel head-to-head with that, or take a note out of Colden Feed's page. Play the Olaf like he did in game 2.
I actually thought they were gonna pick up Renekton here, but looks like it will be an Olaf and an Akali. We talked about possible assassin pickups here.
Yeah, playing towards that stealth, enabling the Akali, that's pretty good, honestly. You still have a pretty decent combo here, and the Akali doesn't show all too much. One other thing that Saigon Phantom banned before was the Rakan. Gets rid of that for what the Jess, and now they have that option again. they're looking to pick up the Zyra Rakan. It's a powerful duo in the bomb side. If they do look to execute this though, this means we should be seeing a bit more utility in the mid lane. Could look to see something like the Ziggs come through, so I'm hopeful that Saigon Phantoms are going to be able to address this, kick that away, grab the Ziggs, maybe something like and maybe bring an assassin in the mid lane as well.
I actually thought Saigon Phantom was gonna pick up Ziggs to try and deny it for INVATE Esports, but I thought they just picked up this Akshan as well as a Leona. So they want to CC INVATE Esports down. I mean, they have a bird, you also have a bug. That's a lot of damage flying right at your face, and a fox to top it off.
Alright, interesting choice here. You go all in. Get Belby on that army, why don't you? You know, we saw an interesting game from him with the brand. Wasn't quite the performance he was looking for. He had a really good one Twisted Fate before. So now they're gonna grab the Ahri, let him play the game that he wants to play, go aggressive, play towards that side of the map. Just like Kaze, play the safe side, not have to worry all too much, but that does leave things wondering for me. Cold Feet now in this assassin, does this mean we're just gonna see Cat Type back in game 1 playing that safe that safe tank bracket, so you're gonna go for a little bit of damage?
Yeah, I feel like it's gonna go towards a bit more damage. I mean, you already have a lot of damage in your face, and INVATE Esports, they really do not want to push this series to a game number 5. So I say, at this point, go all in.
All right.
Well, we got our wish, didn't we? We really did get our wish here, Grandin, of saying remove the Twisted Fate, but it did open the floodgates. Much to your then key point about that is that the assassins, especially the stealth assassins, would be high priority. So given that the Kha'Zix was that first pick, it almost felt inevitable that Saigon had to pick up the Akali as a response.
Yeah, I think we pretty much wrapped it up here for picks and bans going into game number 4, and it's an interesting one to start here. Looking at the picks and bans, things are shaping up pretty spicy. I think that we're seeing INVATE get back on form, but Saigon Phantoms have something to prove. That being said, we're going to toss it over to our casters to bring this game away.
Thank you very much, Grandin. As we do get into the action, we got one more draft completed. Game number 4 between INVATE and Saigon Phantoms. Saigon Phantoms still one win away from closing out the day. Or sorry, INVATE 1 game away from closing out the day. Saigon 1 game away from game number 5. Keeping us here for a little bit longer. My name is TJ, joined by Omo. Omo put his suit jacket back on. Not on camera, he just wanted to feel good.
You gotta get into the right state of mind, right? For us and for these players. I mean, what was I telling you just now, TJ? Do you remember when we were discussing what the game plan is for the next game? Absolutely not, right? Okay, so INVATE, basically, they're coming to this game. They say, we need to first pick TF. We are gonna pick blue side. They pick blue side, and what does Saigon Phantom do? They identified that TF is OP in this series because both of these teams have bad macro. Ban away the TF, and that's gonna be it. This is the first real match that I think we're gonna see because there's no Twisted Fate. This is an even playing ground, and they're trying to cheese the Ahri to start things off.
Oh, Belby nearly falls for it. Saigon Phantoms have gone for the hyper late game draft again, running the Akshan, Olaf, Akali in what is kind of a run back of last game, at least spiritually.
Yep.
INVATE, it seems like, are focusing on the picks, focusing on the individual duels.
It is kind of a run back of the previous game. You swap both junglers, but I think the important thing to keep note of is Fizz is a far cry from Twisted Fate. And in fact, Fizz is probably the furthest you can really get from Twisted Fate. TF lets you cheat the map. TF lets you make up for your bad macro. Fizz does none of those things. He's just really, really good at killing people. That's the one thing he does. And we see it already. He's doing a lot of damage here to Belby. And since that's the only thing he can provide, he's gonna need to do a really good job of that. And Saigon Phantom, they're gonna have to brush up on their macro this game.
Gunner,
I like that. Did you see what the Jets did? Did you see what he just did?
Yeah, denied their honey fruit as what the Jets walked in behind them. AOHK would like some punishment for that, and he walks forward. Gunner follows up there. Kaze very low, but Cold Feet's in the area, so AOHK may be dead to this. Into the bush, he is. There's nothing Gunner can do.
And it all starts off with the honey fruit. What the Jazz, playing a bit of mind games here, getting into the heads of AOHK, saying, you know what, I'm gonna use all my spells. You guys think you can all in me? Guess what? My jungler's behind me. And Cold Feet comes here in the nick of time to save his teammates. Barrier does get popped for Kaze. Heal does get popped for What the Jazz. A lot committed for that kill, but they pick it up, and now they're gonna try to collapse on Blake.
Yeah, trying to move in on Blake, who did just steal away a blue buff.
Yep.
Colin feet jumps over the wall.
Out of frustration.
All right, I can at least have my grump.
At least. And I don't know if you know this, TJ, but down here in Southeast Asia, frog is a bit of a delicacy.
Really?
Yeah, it is. We eat it in porridge. It's delicious. You should try it sometime.
How does that relate?
The grump is a frog. It's a giant toad.
No, it is
No
not.
way. No way you don't know this. It's a giant toad.
How is the grump a frog?
Okay, in the event that I'm wrong, let's just pretend this never happened, but I feel like it might.
Round and furry? What?
It's a big furry frog.
I'm pretty sure.
Okay, I kind of want to tap to Google this, but I think we're seeing a pretty interesting situation right now with the beasts.
We can be sure, right?
I don't want to because I don't want to know if I'm right or wrong. If I
when we have a
Google it,
moment,
if I'm
observers,
wrong,
please show us a grump. Anyway,
just pull up a graphic of a grump really quickly. But yeah, Gunner there, very cheeky. Cancels double recalls. Let's just change the topic completely in the event that I was wrong. We're gonna see a bit of aggressive mid lane movements from Belby since he has the priority this game. I would say that he's kind of playing a TF substitute, right? You have 3 dashes to get around the map. You one-shot minion waves. It's about as close as you can get. That might be a bit of a reach, just like my frog point, but that's fine.
I mean, the problem that happens for Belby here is that Goni hard counters him,
Yes,
right? Fizz is really good into Ari because you can dodge that charm, because you can take the fight and just pump out more damage.
Dodge everything really, but 3-man me.
LB baits the play, follows up, Goni flashes to avoid, and is hard punished as Belby calls in the reinforcements, and the set execution is perfect for INVATE. They are up 1k gold, up a kill as the first Drake spawns.
Yeah, TJ, and you were saying how it's a counter pick. I agree with you, it is a counter pick, but you can't counter 3 people. Very nice play from Goni to start that one off with the playful Trickster. Still has his first skill, uses that back on the minion wave to get out of trouble. Or at least he tries to, right? But what the Jess is here. And what do we always talk about? We always make the same point with INVATE Esports, right? Who are the ones making moves on their team? It's Coded and Feed in tandem with what the Jess, and that's exactly what we see here. Saigon Phantom, they did really good in the last game, banning away the Rakan. I feel like that's by far what the Jess's best champion. Trash is a bait pick in my opinion. I feel like it's just not a good champion, and we see what happens when he didn't have it. This time though, Saigon didn't have the bans. They're gonna try to make a bit of a play here, but it's just gonna get answered.
They do get a turret plate from that exchange, so a little bit more gold in the Saigon pocket. Let's slow down here a bit, Grant, and talk about the state of the map as we enter into the mid-game around this 5-minute mark.
EJ, I caught you Skimmy, you caught me Grandin. I think we're even now. You did actually.
It's
been a long day. I get it.
For those of you who don't know, I live in California, and I woke up to do this at 8 p.m. last night. It is now 8 a.m. and we're going. Rift Herald is.
We're gonna keep going.
And we're going to keep going, but not very quickly as we do enter a pause. So we can have the conversation I was going to have with Grandin, with you instead, Omo, given that you're on hand.
Of course.
Let's talk through what we've got. Let's talk through the mid-game that we're heading into. As Saigon do have the damage burst from the Fizz kind of cancelled by the gank pressure. Trum's not doing too hot either. That leaves a lot of eggs inside the Gunner basket for me.
Yes, I have to agree with that point. A lot of eggs are in Gunner's basket. Blick 1 still has a good, maybe 3 to 5 minutes of power left in that Olaf before he starts getting outscaled. So it's going to be these 2 main guys that we want to look out for, right? Akali and Fizz can always have the pop-off timing in the mid-game. If they manipulate the side waves well, they'll find timing windows to come to the fights and get a good angle. Problem is, Xayah loves these champions. She loves it when you try to dive into it. That's her whole thing, right? So I feel like it's going to be very difficult for Saigon Phantom to play. And why I don't believe that Ghana can carry this game is because of Akshan. As a hero, what does he excel at? This champion wants to look for skirmishes. He wants to dash around the walls, get on top of your backline, get on top of your squishies. You can't do that into Ari, and you definitely cannot do that into Xayah. So it's going to be a very difficult situation for Gunner to try to navigate these team fights for sure. And Saigon Phantom, they're going to need to try to start finding some leads around this Dragon Lane.
We have been told that there is a pause because the player is having some technical issues, so that is going to get resolved hopefully fairly quickly and we can get back into the action. I like your discussion about Akshan here, Omo.
Yeah.
Because he's a character that's kind of still being sorted out, and unlike a lot of characters that we have here in Wild Rift, there's no template because he's still being sorted out in PC League of Legends as well. So,
TJ, you can just DM me. I'll give you the template. I have it.
Okay,
Template to playing every champion in the game.
I don't want you to leak your entire strats. I know you have to keep your solo queue rank reasonably high, but let's kind of talk through where we're at, because for a lot of people who haven't seen, I have a really good conversation here about how he's kind of turned into this late game damage threat. You build him crit, he hovers at the back of fights in the late game, and a lot of people think that he's a kind of dive character who wants to trigger his
what's
passive.
this, TJ?
We're back into it.
We're right back into it.
Ignite will burn away and kill what suggests. But as I was saying, the Akshan really just wants to sustain damage at the back of fights, like he's doing right now in the bottom lane, taking a turret in exchange for the turret being taken up in the top lane. So it will be a first turret break to INVATE, giving them a little bit more gold, but not much more. And most importantly, all of the gold that Saigon Phantom's just got went into Gunner.
Indeed, a lot of gold into Gunner is going to be great for sure, because like you mentioned, right, he does have the ability to play front to back in team fights, not if he gets jumped on.
Oh, he just tries to recall in the middle of the lane.
Yes,
And
he has a stealth, he has a grappling hook.
Not anymore, he doesn't.
He'll have it in 8 seconds. It's not the end of the world just yet. Has a decent chunk of gold. He's still decently ahead of Kazatar. I think that's nice to have. I do want to... Okay, without going into too much detail. Okay, the teams are just not going to let us talk here. Trump top 1v1. That's it.
Yeah, a little bit of poke up on the top side. Nothing much will come from it. Let's reset a little bit as Saigon Phantoms are down 1k in gold and INVATE are earning out a slight lead.
Yes, they are, and a lot of that gold came from the Rift Herald play, right? It broke the first turret of the game up in the Baron lane, and that's going to be a nice influx of gold. I do want to point out, Kha'Zix is traditionally regarded as kind of counter pick towards Olaf, right? So 1,000 gold up, having these items in his pocket, it's so easy for him to pop the GA, coming out of the bush a little bit early there, Code and Feet.
Yeah. I think they didn't know there was a rotate coming up. They would have taken a bonus if somebody had wandered up to defend the turret. Nobody did in time, and therefore INVATE just take the turret. I'll be quite alright with that though, timing the push out of the bush perfectly with the wave crashing. It's a little bit more gold into the INVATE pocket as their lead grows in what could be the final game of the series.
It could definitely be, and I think that INVATE, it could be the game for them to demonstrate that they deserve to still be alive in this tournament. Without the TF crutch, we really need to see what they can do across the map.
We do have a dragon coming up right about now, 20 seconds away, and it's an Infernal Drake, so quite an important one as well. Should Saigon fight for this?
That's a very difficult question to answer, TJ. I say yes. Their team comp needs to find these avenues and they need to find these early fights. Not if this happens though.
No, not like this. AOHK has to burn Flash to survive. And that's going to be kind of hurtful coming into this fight. AOHK is not going to have time to reset. Explosive Cask doesn't find much. AOHK still got the Solar Flare to deploy. Drake down to half HP. 3,000. Resetting. Here's the flank from Belby down mid. Keep your eye on that, but it doesn't find anything. What the Jess? Looking for an angle. He goes in. What an engage! What the Jess! Cleans up the fight before it begins. Gunner flees for his life down the mid lane. Drake will be started and taken by INVATE, and the Saigon Phantoms are destroyed outside the Dragon Pit.
Anyone more?
Yeah, Gunner just wandering. I'm not entirely sure why he was still in the mid lane, but he'll pay for it with his life. Golden Feet just eats him up.
Eats him up indeed, as if he was a tasty frog porridge as well. This Akshan is not going to be having a great game. 0 and 2, you need to be snowballing with Akshan. You need to be winning skirmishes. Sure, you raised a good point, right? He can team fight, he can front to back. Look for the opportunity to find the timing to dive into the team fight. But you're never gonna outrun a Xayah in front to back team fights. It's looking disastrous for the Saigon Phantoms. And if we bring it back to the last Dragon team fight, a lot of that came from What the Jazz and his Rakan. And I want to bring up a point with that, TJ. This Rakan pick seems to be the ace for INVATE. Rakan and TF. My question though is, have they shown too much? You have to think about the play-ins as well as the whole C champs. It's a marathon, it's not a race. You have to win multiple series to qualify for the main stage, and then you have to play even more to get out of the main stage groups. I do believe Blake is gonna get popped.
I think it's a good point that you're raising though, because having to go this late in a series, an elimination series, pull out all the stops this early in a tournament, means that people you're facing later on are going to be able to look back at this series and see what your fallback is when you're up against the wire. Prep for that.
Exactly. And if I was either Flash Wolves or Fano Adversity, the loser of that match will play against INVATE. Trump top? The goals give it away.
Dive will happen up here on the top side. Here's Gunner on the flank, charmed by the quickness, but dealing damage onto What the Jazz. Cat type dropped low as well. This could be big for Saigon, but they can't follow up. And now Golden Feet's looking for a play as Kaze arrives into this fight. Gunner chews away What the Jess's HP, but can't finish the kill. And Kaze is absolutely melting people. He'll find 2 kills, and Saigon Phantoms are destroyed in the top lane, picked off in the bottom lane, and down 3 kills.
Across the board, things just going badly for the Saigon Phantoms. It starts with a catch. That's been the name of this game. It always starts with a pick. It always starts with a catch, and it always comes from a Golden Feet as well as What the Jazz. Look at this. This was a really nice prediction off the backflip from the Akali. Really good stuff from What the Jazz. And look at Akshan. Look at how useless this champion is when you don't have a lead and when you have to just stay back in DPS. Your range is so short. Every Gragas Cask, every Xayah Feather is gonna be landing on you if you try to DPS, and you just never out DPS a Xayah at this point in the game. So there's just so many problems here for SGP. They need Goni as well as Akali trump top to find angles, kill Xayah, kill Kha'Zix, kill Ahri. Too many targets.
Yeah, 5 of them, if I'm being mathematical.
Sure, What the Jazz as well has the force of nature.
You do have the Elder Drag coming up as well, so there's a ticking clock. Saigon have to find something in now, which is perhaps why Blake steps up to fight for his Raptors.
Just disasters. It's just everywhere. Everything is going wrong. They're blowing everything. They're not finding anything. Perfect execution used as well as Ragnarok. How can they contest this?
Yeah, 19 seconds away, and their jungler is recalling. So it's going to be very hard for Saigon to get in on this Elder Drake, which is game deciding.
It is indeed, and honestly, with your jungler not having Ragnarok, not having GAs, it's gonna be so hard for him to get into this fight. Think back to the last 2 Dragon setups. Every time you come here late, INVATE are camping for you. It's gonna be the same thing again.
And so, they're gonna take a swing. Saigon collapse instead on cat type, looking maybe for this Baron. They do not move fast enough. Elder is picked up, and INVATE are looking for a play. What the Jet leans forward, finds a double quickness, and with the explosive cast over the top, cat types found Gunner. There's no AD carry for Saigon, and there's no jungler either. Black One's picked up as well. Saigon lose their 2 key carries right as this Baron fight begins, with the Elder already in INVATE's hands.
And that's gonna be a Baron as well. They want more kills too.
Dive in. Goni into stasis, Belby matches inside the smoke veil. Trump's finally able to get something back. A 3v2 goes against INVATE, but the Baron does not. It'll be picked up. Golden Feet goes over the wall as well. Feeling a little frisky before INVATE back off.
Yeah, not sure if they wanted to go in or get out right there, but it's fine because INVATE, they take a huge dub in that situation. We keep stressing on this point. Akshan does not scale. His range is too short. He needs to find leads through skirmishing, and we saw exactly why. His range of effectiveness is so tiny that What the Jazz didn't even need Flash to get on top of him, and we saw in the last couple of games as well. Sometimes on this Rakan, What the Jazz goes in too deep. This time he has the follow-up. Cat-type with the massive explosive cask to just alley-oop Gunner right back into his team. Cold and Feet cleans that one up. Brilliant team fight from INVATE. One of the best I've seen from them this series.
Yeah, they took a little bit of a break, a little bit of a reset in between games here. And it feels like that did make the difference for INVATE.
Yeah, honestly, I think it did. And I love the touch with Spooky Ghost as well, to just look for these possible flanks.
Yeah, AOHK hunted by the Shadow Boots enchant there. They know exactly where he is. This Solar Flare spent defensively to try and stall the play, and it does, but the mid turret is still melting, burning. As the dive comes in, AOHK is dropped down, burns to death, explosive cat hunts him down, and it sets up for the kill onto Gunner again, as INVATE march down the mid lane. A two-player advantage, a dive behind the inhibitor. Trum's kind of got to save this all by himself, and I don't see it happening. This might be INVATE knocking Saigon Phantom out of this bracket, out of the SEA Championship. They're sieging the Nexus. Trum dives past the team. He can't do anything. 570, it's gone! And Saigon Phantoms from Vietnam are out of the SEA